You can listen to your critics, or you can change the world. You don't get to do both. And so an essential element in you becoming heroic and a genuine everyday hero is learning to manage your haters. The very nature of doing world-class work, master work, consistently releasing masterpieces into your marketplace means that you will stimulate the jealousy of people, means that you will attract critics and naysayers. If you're a true industry disruptor, you will cause people to feel insecure and uncomfortable because your ideas are so fresh. They're so radical. If you look at all great thinkers, they were ridiculed before they were revered. And if you look at all great masters, these people were all condemned before they were celebrated. Some of them were actually, I was walking in Campo di Fiore here in Rome the other night. And in the center of Campo di Fiore, this very interesting square it's a statue of Bruno Giordano. And this was a man who was a visionary, and he was an inventor, and he was a philosopher, and he was a mystic. And the place in Campo di Fiore where the monument of him is, the statue of him, it shows him with a hood over his head. I think he's even holding a book because he used to love to read. Well, the place where the statue of him is the place where he was actually set on fire. It's the place where he was actually killed because he was considered a heretic. And the very nature of being a visionary and someone who's a true innovator and someone who sees possibility and an all-new world means you will be seen by the world as a heretic. As a creative person myself, I've had to deal with critics and naysayers and condemners and misunderstanders. That's really one of the things when you're a creative person and you are running your own race and you're trying to push out innovative work and fresh work that represents what you believe to be true and valuable to other people. People don't understand it. And so what I've done is I've created a mental model called the Troll Deconstruction based on me struggling with the arrows of critics and me dealing with trying to stay inspired when you have people looking at your work and saying, it's not very good. Or I remember there was one man, he did a video when the 5 a.m. Club first came out. I think he was about 20 years old. And he said, what a terrible book. The entire book could be summarized in one page. And I just went, I spent 4 years writing the 5 a.m. Club. I've been in the field for a quarter of a century. I wrote so much of my best information on morning routine and what I wrote about in the book. I tried to handcraft it, make it into an interesting story, but offer great wisdom, as best as I know, great wisdom, along with so many different tactics. It's a 302-page book or something about that. And he said the whole book could be summarized in a page. And he hated the characters. I mean, so many people around the world now, millions of people have fallen in love with Mr. Riley. But he said, there's this strange, eccentric billionaire, and it's just a terrible book. And so I've gone through dealing with criticism, even with The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, the first reader of The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, the editor, who I'd paid to give me some feedback, basically said that it was a piece of garbage. And I still remember the letter. I talked about it in the Everyday Hero Manifesto. And he said, good writing looks easy. It's very difficult. I'm sure my feedback disappoints you. And I remember when I read the letter, I thought he was going to say, oh yes, incredible. And I read the letter. I sat in my little car and outside of his house. And I read that and I felt discouraged. I felt like giving up. I thought maybe I should stay as a lawyer. Maybe I was being a fool trying to become a writer. I'd never written a book before. I don't come from a writing family. And then, you're your instinct is so much more powerful than your intellect. And I said, no, that's just his opinion, because someone else's opinion is just their opinion. And I continued. And I mentioned that only to remind you, you have greatness within you. You have highness within you. You have a higher power that you might not have connected with yet. Hopefully you have over these few weeks in the program already. But the more you do the work, the more you study the material I've offered you with great love and respect, the more you go through the weekly videos that will come up after these first 30 days of the 10-10-10 Heroic Transformation Accelerator, you're going to start noticing. Right now, you might say, Robin, is this really going to happen? It will happen if you do the work, if you persist, if you stay open, if you keep believing, if you stay committed. Because no idea works for someone who doesn't do the work, but everything works for someone who shows up. So let me walk you through the troll deconstruction. I'm going to move pretty quickly because I don't want this video to be too long, but it's really a very powerful learning framework for you to manage criticism and haters in this world where with online, with digital, someone can be a coward and be a hater and try to knock you down behind a keyboard. It's so easy. If someone is angry and frustrated because they're not living their own dreams and they're just not happy with their own lives, they can lash out at you and pour their pain and attack you in the easiest way now, just with a comment on a keyboard. So let's get right into it. The troll deconstruction. Element number 1, haters are love teachers in disguise. And what do I mean by that? Well, to the ego, someone who is criticizing you and putting you down and not loving your work and trying to minimize you, they're a hater. Yet reality, the truth really is they're love teachers because they have taught you or given you the opportunity to learn forgiveness. They have given you the opportunity to grow in love. Through meditating, through prayer, through contemplation. Like contemplation is just, it might be 5 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, and you're contemplating. You're just thinking, wow, that person must be really hurt because people who are in a good place don't say things like that to other people. And when you start contemplating or maybe writing in a journal or having a conversation with a therapist or a spiritual counselor or your confidant or your best friend, and you talk about it, you're going to grow in awareness and an emotional understanding that, wow, that person who was attacking me is actually a love teacher in disguise. Because they made me feel so bad, I can do the work required not to feel so bad, to process through the hurt and the pain, release it from my energetic system, grow in vibration so I'm an even better person. You can actually use their hatred as a platform for growing in love, heroism, wisdom, and decency. Number 2, from the troll deconstructing why trolls do what they do. Beneath attack is pain. People in pain create pain for others. People who are happy and healthy and living their finest lives, they don't have time to hate on other people. It's hurt people, frustrated people, people with nothing to do, people with no sense of their heroic mission, people who are de-energized, people who are sick, who attack and criticize and condemn other people. 3, light attracts moths as well as angels. When you are producing magic and masterwork, your finest work, maybe it's that you're building a great business built on integrity and a commitment to detail. You're a chef and you're producing beautiful food. It's fresh. It's handcrafted. It's done with love. Or maybe you're a teacher or a firefighter or a coder, or maybe you work in retail. Or maybe you're a chess player. Maybe you're a professional athlete. Maybe you're a billionaire. So many different people follow my work, but please remember, when you put out your best work, you will attract light. It's the most amazing thing. So many people will love you. You'll get these amazing opportunities. You'll make more money. You'll feel even happier. But you'll attract light, but light also attracts moths as well as the angels. The very nature of light is it creates shadows. And just know that when you put light and beauty and wonder into the world, so many people will celebrate you for that. They will thank you for that because the world needs more light. But you're also going to attract the dark shadows. You know, it's like the hero story. You're always going to attract the dark forces, which is really just people in pain, people who are running in fear. They're being governed by their animal cells because of their wounding and their trauma. Number four, people in a great place don't tear other people down. If you're really happy, if you're really healthy, if you're full of joy, you're running these great routines, got a great love life, you're in great health, you're doing work that matters, you're being authentic, you don't have the time, you don't have the energy, you don't have the interest to hurt someone. You understand that everyone on the planet is your brother or your sister. We're all connected. Why would you hurt someone? So people in a great place don't tear other people down. So if someone is tearing you down, they're just not in a great place. They just be like the samurai. Give compassion to someone who is suffering. That's what the heroes do. Which brings me to element number 5 of the troll deconstruction. Haters are damaged dreamers. When you were a little kid, you were a dreamer. You really were a possibilitarian. You were an imaginationalist. You wanted to be the next best-selling author. You wanted to walk on the moon. You wanted to create a financial fortune, or you wanted to be an artist, or you wanted to be a superhero, or you wanted to be a truck driver or a firefighter. I don't know what your dreams were when you were young and innocent. So few people protect their dreams. So few people really are possibilitarians. I know you are one of those rare air souls. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here with me right now. But just remember, a hater is a damaged dreamer. They had great dreams, and they tried those dreams, and they got knocked down, and they got bloodied. And rather than getting up, rather than using the pain to turn it into power, rather than saying, yes, part of the process of achieving heroism, greatness, is getting knocked down. If you're not getting knocked down a lot, you're not doing very much. Failure is the highway and the price of ambition. So haters are damaged dreamers. It makes me, I want to go to page 98 of the Everyday Hero Manifesto, because there are some great examples of dreamers. I'm just going to read from the book for you, if I may. When I consider dazzlingly inventive luminaries and industry disruptors, I remember that Miles Davis copied his heroes Charlie Parker and Duke Ellington until he developed the chops and even more essentially the confidence to run his own race and create his own original style as a trumpet player. The Alexander McQueen fashion show where supermodel Shalom Harlow walked down the runway until at the middle, by the way, you can find this online, it's incredible. She walked down the runway until at the middle, she was sprayed by a series of paint machines that created a mesmerizing design on her dress. The audience roared in thunderous applause. The dress is now legendary. By the way, your homework tonight, watch the Alexander McQueen documentary. I think it's called McQueen. Fantastic. And they talk about that in there. Johann Gutenberg's printing press, which radically transformed the world, allowing for the spread of ideas through books. Before this, generating a mass number of publications for many people to read was widely considered to be impossible. See what I mean? To be a real visionary, to be a real disruptor, you've got to completely see a different universe than members of the status quo. When I consider true luminaries, I consider the physical impossibility of death in the mind of someone living. That unforgettable magnum opus of English artist Damien Hirst. which shows a violent tiger shark that was killed and then suspended in a tank of formaldehyde. The creature was caught off the coast of Queensland, Australia, by a fisherman who was paid to do so. His only instructions were to catch a shark big enough to eat you. Then I write, all true artistry, inspired work that challenges assumptions, pushes possibilities, and gives you and me permission to become the creative outlaws we secretly long to be, starts with a pioneering perception of reality. We all can be dreamers. We all can do amazing work. We all can dominate our domain. We can all do amazing things with the gifts and talents that have been invested into us. Most of us don't even connect with those over the course of a lifetime. So haters are really damaged dreamers, which nicely leads us to point number 6 of the troll deconstruction. Powerful work generates extreme reactions. If you're doing it right, people will hate you. Jay-Z, in a biography on him, I remember reading, he said, I knew I was influencing the culture when people really started hating me. If you're really doing pioneering work that over time will be revered as legendary, initially people will think you're crazy. I still remember one of my favorite movies. The title is called At Eternity's Gate. It's with Willem Dafoe, who gives a tour de force performance. And there's one scene in the movie which is mesmerizing to me because Vincent van Gogh, he only sold 2 paintings over the course of his lifetime. He was put in an insane asylum because people thought he was crazy. And there's this one scene where he's in the insane asylum, and the head of the asylum sits down Vincent van Gogh and shows him one of his drawings and said, Vincent, do you really think that this is art? And Willem Dafoe, playing Vincent van Gogh, said, yes, I do. Yeah, very sincerely. He said, I do. And the person who led the asylum said, okay, Vincent, and pretty much made a notation that, yeah, this man's crazy. And now look at how the world has caught up with his vision. And the world reveres him as a great master of artistry. And that's pretty much how it is. It's like so many great visionaries die, and it's 2 or 3 generations later where the thinking catches up with how brilliant they were. And so what I'm suggesting to you is element number 6 of the troll deconstruction is, if your work truly is powerful, not the work of a copyist. I see so many copyists out there. And it's sad because it's like, you have such greatness in you and such genius in you. Why are you copying someone else? Because they're scared. But when you get really good, you start going blue ocean. And your work is powerful and disruptive because it makes people scared. And who said it? It was J.K. Rowling of Harry Potter fame. She said, for some to love you, some must loathe you. I'll repeat that again because it's so important. For some to love you, some must loathe you. And Bob Dylan, I got this from his documentary, I think it's called No Direction Home. And in it he says, if you don't understand it, don't criticize it. Powerful words. Number 7 of the troll deconstruction. To understand magic, one must have the eyes to see magic. I could spend the next hour with you, 2 hours, maybe weeks with you talking about this one. But if you're not inhabiting the creative magic of flow, then you're going to see magic, whether it's a piece of art, a great meal, a great business, a great service, a great product, a great pair of shoes, a great dress, a great handbag, a great car. If you don't know what it is, if you don't know what magic looks like and feels like, you're not going to see magic, and you're just going to go, that's a car. So that's why I encourage you as much as possible, be around mastery, be around magic. Go to the best hotel you can go to, even if it's just to have a cup of coffee, but experience magic. Go to great places. Go to Piazza Navona here in Rome. Look at Bernini's Four Rivers sculpture. The more you can be around magic, great art galleries, great hotels, great restaurants, great people, great travels, great books, great music, you will understand what magic looks like and what it feels like. But most people, I'd say the majority, they don't believe in magic anymore. When they were kids, they did. So they just don't understand. They are misunderstanders. They are misunderstanders. I believe I put my heart and soul and my best work in the Everyday Hero Manifesto. And what you're getting in this program is even so much better than what I wrote in the book, because I want this to be an advanced program. And yet I remember when first copies came out of the Everyday Manifesto, I gave it to a few people in my inner circle. And even in my inner circle, some of those people, I know they love me and they're very good people and they're very positive, but they didn't understand it. You're talking about trauma, micro trauma, macro trauma, heart set healing. They're talking about the secret universe of possibilitarians. There's some chapters that are mystical in the Everyday Hero Manifesto, like that the free money model. And to me, the chapters are all so true, and they come from my own learnings and my own life and what I teach to these heavyweights that I mentor. But some people misunderstood me because they didn't understand the magic that I hope I've created in the Everyday Hero Manifesto. And that's what's going to happen as you continue to do your finest work. People won't understand what you've done because they just don't get it. They just don't understand it. Number 8 of the Troll Deconstruction, ridicule is a symptom of influence. If people are laughing at you, congratulations, you're probably doing amazing work. Because all great masters are ridiculed before they're revered. And finally, brave projects terrify the insecure status quo. Every person on the planet today has heroism within them. They have goodness within them, courage within them, love within their hearts. It's just been covered up for too many people because of micro trauma, macro trauma, the negativity of our world, negative messaging from their early childhood and media and their early teachers, et cetera, et cetera. So now they're in a place where if you push magic or brave work out into the world, something that is radical and fantastic and ultra valuable, you're going to terrify the status quo because they're used to average. They're used to ordinary. They're used to ordinary work. So you do something spectacular, you're going to scare them. It's going to bring up their insecurities. And rather than owning it and processing through it and using it to grow and evolve as a hero, they're going to, psychologists call it projection. They're going to project their anger or sadness or frustration on a life half lived onto you, and they're going to be jealous, they're going to be angry, and for a minute they're going to feel better because they're bringing you down, which is supposedly going to bring them up. It never works. It just makes them build self-loathing within them. Stay the course, stay strong, push magic. The world needs your beauty in it.